One of the most common questions that I get when I meet new therapists looking for a bookkeeper is, why do you work with therapists only and why this field? And I want to share with you a little bit more about me and why I decided to work with therapists even before I thought that I was going to have a bookkeeping business. And let me take you a little bit back of many, many years ago. I was very involved with social work and helping local groups, whether it was through my church or on my own, to help those in my community. And I realized that I really, really like that. I realized that I really, really enjoyed helping others and investing my time in that world. But I also knew that just wanting to do good was not enough. I knew that I needed to learn. I knew that I needed to further my education in that aspect so that I could continue that work. So I started, I switched my major from early childhood education at that point to psychology. Then my husband decided to join the military, so we moved. When I moved, I switched colleges and I decided to go and pursue my major in human services, which sounded exactly what I wanted to do. However, I'm sure that many of you as therapists have encountered something similar, and it was a huge combination. There wasn't just one thing that made me not continue the process, but there was a huge combination of events like the fact that I was a military spouse. That was a challenge in itself to find where to do my hours, and just getting a job in itself, even for military spouses in general, unemployment is actually extremely high. I did not know that at that point. I thought that it was an advantage. So I was very proudly sharing that I was a military spouse and I was looking for a job. And that didn't really work out that well. Pregnancy and having health issues throughout my pregnancy actually led me to quit my job at that point. I was finally able to get a job in social work, in something very, very specific and dear to my heart, which was working with teenagers that are immigrants that were in danger in their country and they needed to be here. And I was in that field, and I could not believe that I had finally made it and getting a job in the field that I wanted to. However, I needed to quit because of health issues and pregnancy and moving. At that point, I was still in school. There was miscommunication with my school. Initially, they said you can just pursue your career. It doesn't matter where you are. Then it turned out that I couldn't continue that process because I was going to move to a different state. Then I had to just switch to psychology instead of human services. It was one thing after the next that continued to be an obstacle. And I finally finished my degree in psychology when my second baby was born, all online. At that point, we were still in the military. It was time to, go get my hours, go find a job. But because we were away, I didn't have necessarily somebody to help me with the kids at home while I was away. Putting them in childcare was actually gonna be so much more expensive than I thought, that me getting a really entry-level job was not going to be able to cover even for their childcare. So at that point, I decided, looking at where we were in our stage with our finances, with the time that we wanted, I decided to just stay home with them. And at a certain point, I would go back and pursue that career. Time went on, things change, plans change. And we decided that we were actually going to, for my husband to get out of the military, we were going to come back home to our state in Florida to be back with family and friends and whatnot, and have that environment for our kids to grow up surrounded by the people that we love, rather than just seeing them on FaceTime. And it was a big, huge transition. It took a lot of planning ahead of time. And that also meant that I was going to look for a job rather than pursue, my certification and whatnot as a counselor, therapist, social work, anything in that field. And that's when a friend actually told me about bookkeeping. And I had already worked many, many years with QuickBooks and my previous job. So I knew a lot about it. I thought that it was perfect because I love to be what I thought at that point doing things behind the scenes. Like I just didn't want to be in front of people, talking to people necessarily with big crowds. I wanted to do the one-on-one work. And also when it was like office work, I just wanted to do things that nobody was going to come and look for me. So I decided to look into that. I thought that it was great. And I immediately thought about it, that I wanted to focus on working with therapists or the mental health field in general, because I did feel like I kind of owed something to the field. I thought that it was something that I wanted to pursue and that I was pursuing from the beginning, that I was really interested in helping others. And I truly believe that the more that I receive is so that the more I can give. So it did feel, and I think it continues to feel that way, like I owed something to that field. So looking then into like business models and what works for me and what doesn't work for me, I also felt that it was going to be a group of people that I would be able to work really well with. Somebody that is going to look at me and appreciate what I do for them and for their practice, instead of just somebody else looking at what I'm doing, but not necessarily to me as a person, because that's how I work with my clients. I work with them, not just necessarily focused on the numbers, but working with them as the human behind the numbers, and how can we connect both? How can we connect themselves and their reality and their life with the numbers? So I thought, this is the field that I want to pursue. I feel like I owe something to them. I feel like I'm going to have an impact and help them. And because of that, then the ripple effect of that is going to be kind of like helping their clients as well. The better that they are equipped, the more that they know about their finances, they might potentially be able to show up even better in their sessions. So this, like I said in the beginning, this is not like a one thing. It's a combination of so many things, more experiences. And then once I got started and spoke to many therapists and got involved in spaces where therapists were talking about this, I realized there is a big gap here. Everybody continues to say the same thing, to express the complaint of, I don't know, this makes me feel uncomfortable. I wish somebody told me this sooner. And there I was feeling like I have the answer. I can help you and I can do this for you. So it was more of like a confirmation that I had made the right choice, not just for myself, and in a way, maybe even selfishly doing something that was going to make me feel good. Although I think that's necessary and important when you are opening your business, doing something that you're going to feel good about and that it's going to bring you even a little bit of fulfillment or joy, or just making you feel good in that space where you are. But also, this is actually beneficial. It wasn't just something that I thought about. It wasn't just something that I maybe created this scenario in my mind, but it's actually real. People are actually expressing their desire for help in this area. So I went full blown into this. I started talking to more therapists, working with more therapists, with solo clinicians, new clinicians, people that are just starting to think about private practice, to group practices that have already been in business, kind of like even them expressing like, I don't know how I was doing before without this information. Like, I'm not even sure how I came to this point. And also people that know a whole bunch about business, that have done this and they have been strategic about it and conscious about it and still wanted that extra level of support. So like I said in the beginning, I wanted to share with you why I'm here. That's a usual question that I get. Why therapists? Why not just work with anybody else? And why, what about you made you come to this conclusion? So let me know if you have any questions. I would love to share more about it. If you are interested in working with me, just leave me a comment or send me a message, and I'm happy to start a conversation. Or even if it's just to say hi, coffee chat, un cafecito, anything like that, I would love to meet you and say hi. Thank you.